Hello, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. In this video, I'm going to talk a bit about movement and how often when we have persistent pain and other symptoms, we tend to move less and less, and why that is and what we can maybe do about it. So, as society as a whole, we're moving less and less. It's not just people who are living with persistent symptoms that are, we're not saying that just amongst that population. As a whole, we are definitely moving less as technology continues to grow and to improve. Then there's a requirement for us to be physically active in our day-to-day life. So you think we can work from our sitting room, from our bedrooms, from wherever. You can sit on the computer. You don't have to move really much at all. You can order your food and have it delivered straight to your door. Do that from your phone, from your computer, whatever. You can do your shopping, do pretty much everything you need from your home, from practically one room, really, maybe with the exception of having to go to the toilet or the kitchen to maybe heat something up for you to eat. But other than that, you don't really have to move much at all now. You think in days gone by, even a generation or so ago, we were having to move much more in daily life because things weren't so readily available because the technology wasn't there. So the population as a whole is moving less and less. And then, of course, we have the fact that we move less and less daily life, and then we go to the gym and do particular exercises in the gym. So people will drive from the house to the gym and do certain exercises that they've been given by the personal trainer or they've devised themselves to use to do on machines or whatever when they're in the gym or attending a class, something like that. But on the whole, in terms of activity levels throughout the day, they're much, much lower than they would have been before. And that's in the general population. If we then think about people who are living with chronic conditions, be it pain, be it chronic fatigue, be it other chronic illnesses, then that likelihood is that we're moving even less when we're living with these issues. And that's probably no great surprise. For most people, either if they have pain, movement tends to be associated with making pain worse. If you're living with fatigue, again, associated with making things worse. And often people are told to rest or to pace or not to do too much. And that can come from health professionals, and it can also be reinforced by family and friends. Oh, you better not do that. You better not lift that too much. That's too heavy for you. Don't you be doing that? Oh, you better have it whenever you sit down. Watch you don't hurt yourself. Watch you don't overexert yourself. Watch you not doing anything that's going to make things worse. So we receive all these messages, which are usually always meant in a well-meaning way, that movement and activity aren't good for us, that we're at risk of harm if we move or do anything active. Now, I'm not talking about exercise here. I'm talking about just normal movement within day-to-day life. I'm not talking about going to the gym and pushing weights or what have you. This is just normal movement in day-to-day life. We'll often get lots of these messages from various corners telling us that we shouldn't be doing too much. Watch you don't do too much. You might hurt yourself. You might harm yourself. You're going to be knackered. You know what happened the last time when you had a busy day. So all these messages, we think before, again, we've talked about how the brain takes all these things in. All these messages are reinforcing that we shouldn't be moving, that for us, the safe thing to do is to not to move. And if you remember, the brain's all about safety. So the safest place for you to be is on the couch, not moving, or lying in your bed, not moving. And then actually what happens is when you do try to move and try to be a bit more active, your brain often then misinterprets what would be normal signals from the muscles and the joints and the body in general. It'll often misinterpret these normal signals as something, as a sign of danger, as something to be afraid of. Because partly because you're not used to moving, so it's alien to you, and then often because we're so focused in on, I don't know, say it's your back, so focused on what's going on in the back, that any normal change in length of muscle, normal movement within the joints, normal stretching and contracting, the brain then is so highly tuned in on it, it's misinterpreting those normal signals as being something to be fearful of. And that, of course, then reinforces the idea that you're better off not moving. Better off not moving. It's safer when I just stay put and don't move. The other thing that often happens is we're then prescribed exercises by a physio or other health professional who'll give us specific exercises to work on our strength, to work on particular areas that we need to do, balance or strength or flexibility, whatever it may be. And firstly, again, that's perpetuating the idea that there's something wrong that we have to fix by doing these specific movements, these specific exercises. And secondly, for the most part, they're kind of rubbish and boring and we don't enjoy them. So the movement then has a negative association with, even from an enjoyment point of view. And the chances are, if that's the case, then it may well increase the symptoms and certainly probably isn't going to make them any better. So while there's a role for specific exercises when there is an acute injury, when there is a particular thing lacking that we have to work on to aid normal movement, for most people in the situations that we're talking about just now, be it just general inactivity because of lifestyle, or be it general inactivity because of ongoing symptoms, not too many of the words today, ongoing symptoms, the most important thing is just to move your body in the most natural and normal way that you can. So that isn't sitting doing, for most people, isn't sitting doing exercises that have been prescribed for you by somebody to strengthen your knee or your shoulder or your back or whatever. The best form of movement for most people in that situation is just a normal, natural movement, and more importantly, something that you enjoy doing. So there's no point in saying, right, okay, my exercise is going to be cycling if actually you don't like cycling. Why do something you don't want to do? The whole point of this is it should be something that you enjoy. We're not just looking for physical benefits here. We're not looking for you to be moving your body for the sake of it. We want you because you're told to do it. We want you to be moving it because you enjoy it and because it makes you feel good, and it sends positive messages back to the brain. It's reinforcing the messages we want, that actually you can move your body freely, that it isn't going to cause your symptoms, because as we know, for most people with persistent symptoms, the problem is not in the structure of the body itself. It's the misinterpretation of these signals that are getting sent through. So if you can engage in movement that is positive for you, that sends these reinforcing messages to your brain that actually, look, I can do that and it's not causing any issues because there's nothing going on in my body that I need to worry about. It's just these misinterpreting of the signals again. But that's unlikely to happen if you're doing a structured, repetitive exercise that you don't enjoy. That's unlikely to send these positively reinforcing messages to your brain. It's more likely, in fact, to send messages that everything isn't okay because it's tedious, because it's boring, because it's repetitive, because it doesn't immediately show any real world significance. So find a movement that you like to do. Find something you like. If that's putting on some music and having a wee sway about in the chair, if that's what's right for you, then do that. But you're getting some movement going. And then once you're more comfortable doing that, and once your brain gets used to that, then you can add in your arms and you can get that moving. And then you might want to stand up for a moment or two. And then you might want to move from there. But it's about doing something that you enjoy and that's sending back these positive messages. And yes, initially, the natural reaction for you might be, oh, but I can feel that in my back. Oh, what's going on? But remember the messages of safety. Remember that that's just your brain misinterpreting the normal changes in the length of the muscles, the normal movement within the joints. It's just misinterpreting that as being a sign of danger because that's what it's looking for. But we know that for most people, that's not the case. So getting a little bit of movement going, but you're still feeling safe is important. You're still feeling safe. You're still in whatever your safe place is, but you're starting to get things going a wee bit. And then from there, you can build on, look for different opportunities to move a little bit more within your day. I'm not asking you to scale Mount Everest. I'm just asking you to try and get a wee bit more movement in with your day. So try not to be sitting for too long. Can you get up rather than get someone else to bring you a cup of tea? Can you get up and go get your own cup of tea? Can you then take the cup back again rather than wait until you need to go for the next cup? How can you move a bit more? But more importantly, how can you find some joy in that movement? So the cup of tea thing isn't going to bring you much joy, I suspect, but a bit of music might bring you some joy, or stepping outside the door, getting a wee bit of fresh air, and then stepping a wee bit further. Or just stepping outside the door and lifting your arms up and moving and noticing what's going on there. Or swaying side to side as you're stepping outside, and just gradually start to get things moving, putting some music on, doing something with somebody else. can make a big difference as well. Having a bit of company while you're doing something, if you've got that option to do that as well. Think what you can do. Think how you can make things more pleasurable. Think how you can get your body used to moving again, and to recognise movement as a positive thing and not something to be feared. Okay, so if that brings anything up for you again, just send me a wee message, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.